everything owned by everyone because hoarders blow.
And isn't that perfect nirvana? That is perfect utopia. No, wait, that was the failed experiment of the Soviet Union.
Yeah, exactly. And
So what
then,
do they say?
um,
How do they comment on that one?
take for instance the infamous 1%, whose ownership of the capital stock of this country leads to horrific inequality.
No.
Capital stock refers to two things: buildings and equipment that workers use to produce goods and services, and the stocks and bonds that represent ownership over the former. The top 10%'s ownership of the means of production is represented by the fact that they control 80% of all financial assets. So that's just Marxism 101.
Mm-hmm.
That somebody else owns the equipment that the workers use to make goods. I like the way they describe that.
I love the whole, dude, I've said this for several years. This whole boogeyman, 1%er evil creature, you can't even call him a human being, is just been such a hilarious mantra of the left. I just laugh at it anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, number 5, you take it.
All right. Again, here we go. A public bank in every state, because you see, this has to be. if this is not satire, shame on whoever wrote it. Public bank in every state, because you guessed it, Wall Street blows. Okay, so setting aside Wall Street, because Wall Street, again, being the devil incarnate, pretend Wall Street did not even exist. Okay, we're talking about banking system here, right? People
Right.
making money, putting money in banks, the whole bit. Again, the operative word here, Michael, being public. What the hell does that mean to these people?
Okay, there's only one state that currently has a public option for banking: North Dakota. When North Dakotans pay state taxes, the money gets deposited in the state's bank, which in turn offers cheap loans to farmers, students, and businesses. The Bank of North Dakota doesn't make seedy, destined to default loans, slice them up inscrutably, and sell them on a secondary market. It doesn't play around with incomprehensible derivatives and allow its executives to extract billions of dollars. It just makes loans and works with debtors to pay them off.
Okay, but again, I mean, having been in the investment business for a long time, back to Wall Street, derivatives, penny stocks, everything else. If you go back before Wall Street existed to the primary, because again, I'm keying on this public bank thing. No. A public anything, particularly public bank, as I would define it, again, setting it aside from Wall Street and derivatives, dude, we said we were going to get away from hangdog stuff. You,
Am I bringing you down?
you're wearing me out.
Well, here's the way that I look at this: is the potential of profit, the potential of participating in profit. That is what drives the banker to carefully assess the risk over the loans that he makes. If we eliminate the potential for profit in a state bank, then we eliminate that exact sort of evaluation of the risk characteristics of the borrower, which got us into a lot of the banking trouble that we're in right now.
Not only that, but i.e. my comment about welcome to the Soviet Union. And combining the two, I suspect, were that to happen, then whenever risk is not assessed, whenever, it's kumbaya, everybody has the right to borrow however much money they want to, and the failures are absorbed by the taxpayer. How's that going to work out? Setting aside even the fact that there would be no incentive for private bankers to exist.
Well, let's look at it this way. The typical metric for any government program is growth. So if I'm a banker working for the state bank, I'm going to approve every single loan that comes in because number one, it's not my money.
Right.
Number two, if it fails, it doesn't hurt me. If it succeeds, it doesn't help me. And I want to be able to say, yeah, my lending grew by 25% this year. Next year, I hope to go to 35%.
That's right as well.
I mean, the any Econ 101 student can destroy this article.
And again, excuse me, allergies. You suggested that maybe it's satire. The more we pay attention, it has to be, because it's profound ignorance. There's no question.
Yeah. So it just, I don't know. I still, my gut instinct is that this guy at Rolling Stone is writing a satirical article. The problem is that his satire is not all that far from what the Occupy Oakland, Occupy Wall Street, Occupy Newport Beach, Occupy Indiana, what those guys are protesting over right this very second.
Exactly, and that's why I was a bit skeptical, because it's in the Rolling Stone, right?
Right.
Were it in on New Republic, any conservative site, yeah, exactly. But that's exactly why, that I. He's brilliant, if and maybe going against the grain at the Stone, if so, but either way,
yeah,
it's hilarious.
Totally funny. All right. Speaking of hilarious, the president, Mike, has talked a lot about bipartisanship. You hear that a lot, especially now that we've got a new Congress. Harry Reid really, really, really wants to work with the Senate.
Oh,
except for that the president has come out and said that if the Senate passes the Keystone XL pipeline bill, he's going to veto it, right?
Right.
Now, it was interesting to me. I don't know if this even got press on IJR at all, but did you know last Friday the House did pass a Keystone XL pipeline bill with 28 Democratic votes in support?
I did.
Yeah, I was not aware of that till I started writing this story. But over the weekend, Senator John Hoeven was on Fox News, and he announced that they only need 4 more votes. Right now, they've got 63 votes for passing the Keystone XL pipeline. So the question as to whether or not it's going to pass in the Senate, that's way down the road. I mean, that's done.
Right.
The question is, can they overturn it? Hoeven's point is that he is extremely positive, as are the Republicans, that they're going to be able to get 4 more Democratic senators on board and support this thing, which will allow them to overturn the veto.
Right. And, well, I'll give you my opinion. Keep going.
No, that's really it. And I excised out the clip. Chris Coons, who is leading the fight against it, oddly enough, from Delaware, geographically removed from the Keystone XL pipeline.
Which is really important, that he's geographically removed, yes.
Yeah, you know what it does, man? It really makes it important to me. The whole idea. Which amendment was it that under Woodrow Wilson that the state representatives no longer elect the U.S. senators? That it's now a statewide vote of the populace.
I got nothing.
You know the concept. Prior to Woodrow.
Wilson, yeah. No, I do know that. I just don't. Yeah.
And so what happens then, and this is a perfect example, Chris Coons in Delaware, other than as a general national interest, the senator from the state of Delaware getting involved in a pipeline that cuts through the center of the country. He has nothing to do with that.
No, it's like light years from Democrat Mary Landrieu, who was desperate to keep her job, trying to make the Keystone Pipeline thing an issue, and the Congress let her down. So you're exactly right.
Well, it was very interesting for me, Mike, as I was doing research on this. I didn't link it. I found two different editorials from Minnesota-based newspapers calling for both the Minnesota senators, one of them being Saturday Night Live alum Al Franken, to support this thing. And Franken is currently on record against it.
Right.
Talking about the incredible net benefit that will accrue to the state of Minnesota if this pipeline goes through.
Well, you know what? And setting aside Franken, here's the deal. And maybe I'm just going out on a limb, and I've written about this before. We've talked about it before. Obama is irrelevant right now, right, as it relates to 2016 and beyond. And Obama has tried for 6 years, has for 6 years, or what have you, walked this fine line between the fact that labor unions in this country, AFL-CIO, and others, have been in support of Keystone from the beginning. He walks this line between them and the environmentalist wackos. And you got to think, Michael, that at least, as you say, 4 more Democrats can think, you know what, screw Obama, he's out. We're thinking about 2016. You just look at the polls in terms of the percentage of folks in the country who support Keystone. I mean, if I was going to have to bet or guess, I would say that will happen.
Yeah, I think so. Stunning, right?
Yeah.
Do you think they'll? I mean, you just said that, and I want to revisit it. I want to hear you say it again. Do you think they'll actually be able to overturn a veto from the president on this?
That's always a tricky thing to do. But I think, and I would again bet, were I forced to do so, that would happen primarily because of what I just said. Listen, I mean, certainly prior to 2012 and even prior to the midterms, not so much. But I think where it is now, the reality of politics right now and the balance, I think, yes, I think it could definitely happen.
One of the inspirations for this thing last week, remember we were talking, Mike, and you had recalled, and I put up on our blog the 2 different charts, the
right.
one showing everything, and you notice in this article I put those both in as well. One thing interesting, it was curious to me, Joe Manchin, the Democrat from West Virginia, is a co-sponsor, right? But when you look at the existing Keystone Pipeline, it ends in Kentucky, not all that far from West Virginia. So that doesn't explain. That does explain to me how a guy like Manchin, who's been rumored in the past about being a potential turncoat Democrat.
Well, you go back to when he ran, a couple of minutes ago. I'm looking at the dude. We have 1 minute left. You take us out. But when he ran and he was showing himself in campaign videos shooting at a target, right? Gun, pro gun. So, dude, take us out.
Joe Manchin is not the Democratic National Committee's favorite senator.
Not a barometer of Democrats, no.
No. Anyway, folks, you have been listening to The Right Mics with Mike Miller and Michael Hausum. We are done with the broadcast day. We want to thank you so much for listening. Come back, listen to us again in 22 hours. Tell your friends. This is Michael Hausum for Mike Miller thanking you. Have a great afternoon and evening, and we will talk to you tomorrow.
And be here.
show is produced by IJReview.com.